Oh, hey, what's up, you guys? How's it going? It's Papa, and today I'm going to be showing you guys my pile deck. So, I had a lot of people comment on my last Lightsworn pile that I played, and I got a lot of good feedback. A lot of people want to see more of it. I thought I'd go ahead and update the deck before I do start taking it to locals again. So, I added some cards. We're now playing 60 instead of 50 because there's a lot of cool decks I wanted to play, and I'll go ahead and go over them as soon as we get into the profile, but without further ado, I just want to say that this is a very, very fun deck. It's not the most competitive, it's not very like meta defining or anything, it's all luck. It's basically the slot machine deck. Basically your plays are based off of how you mill cards. I mean, I guess that's every hand in Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, it's depending on what you draw, but this one specifically because you really have to rely on your graveyard, so you lose the cards like Dweller, Baguska, like a bunch of random shit. But it's a really fun deck to play, and if you want something fun, competitive, or not, again, competitive, something fun to play, then I would go ahead and suggest playing a Lightsworn deck because it is a really cool way to play the game. But we'll go ahead and get jumped right into the profile. 60 cards, so it's a lot. There's a lot of different engines, and I'll go over each one. So we play 2 Raiden now. 3 Wolf, and 1 Lumina. So this is very small as compared to Lightsworn variants. I don't really think the baby was needed because I play other tuners now instead, and the baby Minerva, that is. But the Lumina is good if you open up charge, and then having the Raiden engraved, being able to just use this as your normal summon is better than using this, because then you get 2 bodies on board, and then if you need to, you can use the Lumina and the Raiden to make Riser Dragon. Wolf is just the worst card in the deck, but also just the biggest reward in the deck, being able to mill it, summon itself, and it's a mandatory effect, so you do have to trigger it. But these cards are really good. I'm really glad to still be able to play Lightsworn. It's one of my favorite decks of all time. And then we still play a danger component, so I think it's the same as last time. We play the 3 Nessie, 3 Bigfoot for going second, 3 Chupacabra, it just gets cards back from the graveyard, 3 Mothman to fix hands, and then Tsuchinoko and Jackalope. I toyed around with playing Thunderbird, but there wasn't enough space in the deck, and I know that's a lot to say considering it's a 60 card deck, but I do debate on playing Thunderbird a lot for going second, but it just didn't stay. So we're just rocking the same danger lineup as before. All of them have their different usages, but they're all really good. It's especially good because we're playing a specific card in the deck now, but I'll get more into that when we get there. Zombie lineup. 2 Solitaire. I think I was playing 3 before, but now we play 2 because we need to make room for other things. 2 Unizombie. Don't need 3. I think 3 Clogs, so you can just summon it off of Spirit Master anyway. 2 Plague Spreader. I debated on playing 1 of this. I think 2 is fine though. There's a card that I'm missing, and I'll get to that when we get to it. So that's why I threw the 2nd Plague Spreader in. 1 Spirit Master to get the Solitaire. Or no, the Solitaire to summon out the Spirit Master, and then Spirit Master to just be a pop during your opponent's turn when you banish it off snow. And then 3 Mizuki. So Mizuki being the best zombie out of them all, of course. Unizombie is what makes your synchro plays go. But all these cards are really good. I did debate on playing a Gozuki, but it just never came up for me, so I cut it. Then we play a different engine. I wasn't playing this before, but we're playing like a full-on Performage engine. We're playing 2 Hat Trickers, 1 Juggler, and 1 Trick Clown. People that played Lightsworn back in the day probably know the route that I'm going when I do play these cards, but Hat Tricker just becomes an extra body to summon, and it's a level 4 Earth, and that's very important. Again, if you played Lightsworn back in the day, you probably know where I'm leaning towards. But Juggler gets you any one of these. I know Juggler's at 3, but you still just need the 1 because it gets you any of these. Trick Clown still being the best one. I've debated on playing a 2nd Trick Clown and just cutting these in general, but I didn't do that. So I think these are fine. Just the 5, or not 5, 4 Performance cards are fine. And then we play a very, very small Chaos engine. We play 1 White Dragon Wyverburster, 1 Black Dragon, and then 1 Chaos Dragon Levianeer. So basically when you play the Dangers and you pair it with Levianeer, it shuffles a card from your opponent's hand back to the deck, so making them start with 5 cards instead of 6 when they go. But that's not the name of the game. We're trying to be tedious. This is like a trollish kind of deck. We're trying to spin cards out of the hand and then let them play with as minimal cards as possible. So these just become extra bodies. This helps you make your zombie vampire. It's really great. I love the synergy that these cards have. And then here's a weird one. I don't have a certain card for it, but I do play 2 copies of Spiral Super Agent. So this I like because it's a level 4 Earth, and it's 1900 attack, and you could add it off of Rhoda if you need it. But I was going to be playing Spiral Resort, but I don't own one, so I need to get one, and that's what I'm going to cut the second play spreader for. So I think this card is really cracked, actually. Just being able to get that kind of knowledge that you need to know what to make for your opponent's board. It could be a Despia player, so you know to make Nat Beast. You could be playing against Sword Soul, you know, to get Token Collector into the graveyard. You just don't know what you're going to be playing against, so Super Agent kind of like helps me decide on what end board I want to go through. But really cool card. I did play this a lot back in the day with Lightsworn before, but super fun. And then these are just a whole bunch of 1-ofs. So these are just 1-ofs that pair really well. We play 1 Zephyros, 1 Dotscaper, 1 Recover, and 1 Jet Synchron. So these are like your main targets off of the Halqifibrax is the Recover and the Jet Synchron. Jet Synchron is just a 1-card Halqifibrax in general, so you could use this to just get your Recover out, or you can get Plague Spreader out. It really just depends on your hand. Most of the time I see myself summoning the Recover off of Halqifibrax because Jet, you can get into the grave easier. It has like a better graveyard effect than the cover does. But these cards are insane. I love them, and it's really cool to play Recover again. I never thought I'd do it. But this is basically what makes the Nat Beast. So you use this with any level 4 Earth in the deck. It could be Super Agent, it could be Hat Tricker, it could also be Giant Rex, which we are still playing because it combos well off with Fairy Tail Snow, which is a stupid card, should be banned, and I feel bad to those that don't play it. Then we play a Destrudo because this helps you make Riser Dragon to set up your Scythe block, which reminds me we play Scythe, and we also play Token Collector because if you mill these and then you make Baron to floor, you can just Scythe block your opponent during their turn, and then if you mill the Token Collector, you just have that as like a game 1 out to Sword Soul, making it basically be a free matchup. But yeah, so that's all the monsters. I believe it's 50 monsters in the main deck, so quite a bit. I don't really know what else to say. It's a big pile of cards, and they're all really good. They just somehow like pair really well with each other. Yeah, I don't know what I would really like add or cut. I think I just want to like take out the Plague Spreader for that Spiral Resort again. But without further ado, we're going to the spells. 3 Chaos Space. This card is cracked. Basically what you can do with Chaos Space is you send a Light or Dark from the hand to the graveyard, and then you add a Light or Dark monster that can't be normal summon or set. Really cool plays that you can do is you can add Wolf with this. You don't want to, but you can add Wolf, activate your Plague Spreader zombie to put the Wolf back on top of the deck, and then when you make Minerva and you mill 3, you're going to mill that Wolf, getting you a draw and a body on the field. So it's a really cool interaction. It has come up once during testing, but you mainly use this to add Levianeer so you can hand rip. Either that or add the Chaos Dragons. It really just depends on your situation. Then we play 3 Charge of the Light Brigade. Same reasoning. If you need to, you can add Wolf, but you really just want to be able to fill up your graveyard as much as possible. You use this to grab Lumina because odds are you're going to get a Raiden into the grave. And if you don't get a Raiden into the grave, then you just add Raiden, use that as the safer normal summon, and then just make your Chaos Dragon and just go from there. We play Rhoda for a powerful 1-of. It searches you the Super Agent or the Raiden. 1 Metalfoe Fusion. I really like playing mill deck, so I felt playing the Metalfoe Fusion is just still fun to play because you can discard it to activate certain effects, and then you could mill it and shuffle it back and draw a card. It's a really cool interaction. I just like playing it. You don't have to play it though. 1 Foolish Burial, 1 Gold Sark, 1 1-for-1, and 1 Monster Reborn. The 1-for-1 basically because it gets you Dotscaper, Jet Synchron, or Recover, so that way you don't have to make the Halqifibrax to do so. And then it's just cool. I mean, I wasn't playing it before because I didn't play any level 1s, but now that we have Jet Synchron back, I just decided to throw it in, play the Recover, and it just helps fix your hand too, and it triggers dangers. It's really, really busted. But that's it for the main deck. It is a 60-card main deck. Like, look at that pile of brick, but they all just really work well together, and who knows, maybe I'll show another combo. I would like to take this to locals and record duels for you, but it really just depends on my schedule. For the extra deck, so we are playing Nat Beast because this with Recover with any level 4 Earth is Nat Beast, and then it just stops your opponent from playing spells. Really good against Sword Soul, really good against Despia mainly. It's also kind of good against the Punk deck. They do play like quite a bit of spells as well, but just really versatile. Riser Dragon, because it sets up the Scythe and Token Collector for your opponent's turn. Omega, because it spins a card back, so it makes them play with less cards as well. Chaos Ruler, this card is insane. This card should actually just probably be on the forbidden list. This card's really good. Being able to mill 5 and then add one of those 5, and then it summons itself back out too. Card's really cracked. Trishula, again, we're trying to get cards out of my opponent's hands. So basically what you do, you make Omega, Trish, and Levianeer turn 1, and that's 3 cards out of the hand, and then they still have to deal with a possible Baron, and they have to deal with like a Dweller, Apollosa, like a bunch of other random interruptions, and maybe a Scythe. So basically we're just trying not to let our opponent play. One Abyss Dweller, still feel like I need it. Minerva, just again good for getting cards into the grave. Zombie Vampire, this card just becomes even more cracked with the addition of Levianeer. When you use your ruler and that, you have a Bigfoot as well that can make it. Just a bunch of different ways of summoning it, but it just also gives you extra knowledge as to what your opponent's playing, being able to just base your board off of that. Links, we played Halqifibrax and Masquerena. Masquerena to be paired up with the Unicorn of Course as just your extra interruption. I decided to cut Phoenix out, and that's when I put the Trishula in. I'm also not playing Savage Dragon. I'm playing the Omega because I think the Baron and then like everything else is okay instead. We play Access Code Talker, Apollosa, and then the last card, God card, is Curious the Lightsworn Dominion. But yeah, guys, that is it. That is going to do it for this deck profile. It's a really fun deck. Again, I really suggest that you try playing it. This is the updated list that I will be playing for the current format. I've been missing the pile deck. I've always put it together, and I've always like ended up scrapping it back into the binder because I've just been trying to do well with other decks. And I don't know, it's a really fun deck. It does take a lot of like thought because there's so many different lines of play that you can do with this deck, but I really do enjoy it. And until next time, guys, this has been Papa, and I will catch you all in my next video. Take care, everyone.